Think of chocolate. What comes to mind? Snickers? M&Ms? Or maybe a Milky Way bar? Behind these iconic treats is Mars Wrigley, the global giant that quietly rules the world of chocolate. Today, Mars Wrigley isn't just a name, it's a powerhouse. But how did a family business, born in a small kitchen over 100 years ago, grow into a global confectionery empire? The story of Mars Wrigley is more than sweet. It's filled with bold risks, strategic moves, and an obsession with remaining at the top. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll dive into how this company rose to the #1 position in the chocolate industry, from the boardrooms to the battlefields to your own pantry. It all started with one man, Franklin Clarence Mars, back in 1911. Born in Minnesota in the late 1800s, Franklin didn't have an easy path to success, but he had one thing vision. After several failed business attempts, he founded the Mars Oat Bar Company, selling simple confections from his kitchen. His big break, the Milky Way bar, introduced in 1923. The Milky Way wasn't just candy, it was marketed as a meal in a bar, something that could satisfy hunger on the go. It became an instant hit, raking in over $800,000 in its first year. But Franklin wasn't done yet. In 1930, the Snickers bar was born, packed with nougat, caramel, and peanuts. It took the world by storm. By 1930, the Milky Way and Snickers bars were generating millions in revenue. Today, Snickers is one of the best-selling chocolate bars globally, with annual sales of over $3 billion. Franklin Mars had built the foundation for a chocolate empire, but it was his son, Forrest Mars Sr., who would take it to the next level. Forrest Mars wasn't just Franklin's heir, he was a visionary in his own right. After falling out with his father, Forrest moved to Europe in the 1930s, where he began experimenting with chocolate. It was during World War II that Forrest's true genius shined. He saw an opportunity to create a candy that wouldn't melt in the hands of soldiers, even in the heat of battle. Thus, M&Ms were born. Designed for practicality and deliciousness, these tiny candy-coated chocolates became a staple for soldiers during the war. When the war ended, M&Ms made their way back to American shelves, and the rest, as they say, is history. But there's more to the story than just a candy-coated shell. Forrest Mars understood the power of brand loyalty. He wasn't just creating chocolates, he was creating a global craving. By the 1950s, M&Ms were an American household favorite, and Mars was well on its way to becoming a global powerhouse. Today, Mars produces more than 400 million M&Ms each day, enough to circle the Earth multiple times annually. With M&Ms under his belt, Forrest didn't stop there. He rejoined the family business in 1964, after his father's death, and set his sights on global domination. As Mars continued to grow, the company made one of the boldest moves in its history, expanding far beyond chocolate. In the late 20th century, Mars began acquiring and developing a portfolio of food, pet care, and snack brands. But their heart remained in confections, and they weren't done making big moves in that space either. By the late 20th century, Mars had established itself as a global leader, not just in chocolate, but across the food industry. From pedigree pet food to Uncle Ben's rice, Mars was diversifying faster than most could keep up with. Mars Inc. is one of the world's largest privately held companies, generating over $45 billion annually across its portfolio. But what kept Mars ahead of the game wasn't just its size, it was their obsession with quality and control. Unlike many of their competitors, Mars remained a family-owned business, allowing them to focus on long-term growth rather than short-term gains. Just when you thought Mars couldn't grow any bigger, they made a move that shocked the industry. In 2008, Mars acquired Wrigley in a deal worth $23 billion. It wasn't just a merger of companies, it was the merging of two legacies. With Wrigley, Mars gained not just a new product line, but an entire new market. Wrigley, founded in 1891, was the world's largest gum manufacturer with a global reach that matched Mars. Together, Mars Wrigley became a powerhouse, controlling everything from candy bars to chewing gum. This wasn't just about growing their portfolio, it was about dominating the entire confectionery industry. From chocolate to gum, Mars Wrigley now had a foothold in every corner of the market. The Mars Wrigley merger solidified the company's position as the world's largest confectionery business, with a market share of over 14% globally today. As the world changes, so does the responsibility of global corporations. Mars Wrigley understands this all too well. Today, they are leading efforts in sustainability. From responsible cocoa sourcing to reducing their environmental footprint, Mars has committed to sourcing 100% of its cocoa from certified sustainable farms by 2025. It's a bold promise, but one that Mars believes is necessary for the future of the industry. Beyond cocoa, the company is working toward ambitious environmental goals like reducing its greenhouse gas emissions by 27% and achieving zero waste in its operations. But in an industry built on mass production and global supply chains, can Mars Wrigley truly deliver on these promises? The stakes are high, and the world is watching. Mars knows that the future of it depends on not just satisfying taste buds, but ensuring the planet's survival. Mars Wrigley invests over $1 billion annually into its sustainability and responsible sourcing initiatives, one of the largest commitments in the global food industry. So what's next for Mars Wrigley? As the company looks to the future, it's leveraging technology to stay ahead. From AI-driven production lines to eco-friendly packaging solutions, Mars is reinventing how chocolate is made, packaged, and enjoyed. And while the world changes, one thing remains constant: the Mars family's vision of delivering happiness one bite at a time. From its humble beginnings in a kitchen in Minnesota to becoming a global powerhouse with beloved brands in nearly every country, Mars Wrigley's journey is one of bold moves, unwavering dedication, and a relentless pursuit of perfection. It's more than a company, it's a legacy that continues to shape the way the world experiences chocolate. Mars Wrigley continues to innovate with new product lines and global partnerships, driving annual revenues upwards of $45 billion and continuing to grow. And while the future may be uncertain, one thing is clear: Mars Wrigley's sweet empire is here to stay. Mars Wrigley, a company built on passion, strategy, and a love for chocolate. And its story is far from over.